Evolved, your home for Halo.
Welcome back, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a bunch of lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the opening cutscene and Warship Gbraakon mission from Halo Infinite. Woo-hoo. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
Matt Salvatore.
Hello there.
And Krista Brown.
I want my purple aliens back.
They're red now. They're not silver.
Nope.
Metal. Since this is the first mission debrief of Halo Infinite, we're going to run through a quick overview of the game. I'm going to hand it off to Krista. Take it away.
Hey! Alright, so the developer is 343 Industries. The original release date was December 8th, 2021, and the multiplayer was released on November 15th. God,
Surprise!
So
Damn.
you were a doubter, Colin.
I also doubted. I still doubt. I still doubt it.
It's actually
What?
not out yet.
I don't believe it yet. The number of missions are 16 plus 4 open world areas. That'll be fun to cover. Other games released in the same year is It Takes Two, Far Cry 6, Resident Evil Village, Psychonauts 2, Deathloop, Hitman 3, New World, The Medium, Forza Horizon 5, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, Pokemon Snap, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Metroid Dread, and Tales of Arise. So, it's okay.
Kind of weird year.
It's okay. There's a couple nice ones in there, but, you know, since 2020, the games coming out have been few and far between, but they have a good excuse for that, you know. The Metacritic score for this game is 87, which is really good. That's for Metacritic. That is very
pretty
solid.
good, especially with like I thought people would knock it way worse for like the co-op and not being able to repeat missions and stuff. I was expecting it to get a lower score.
It includes multiplayer. I think multiplayer.
Multiplayer bumps it back up. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Platform and difficulty. So Halo Infinite can be played on Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series S and X, PC, and xCloud. We are playing on heroic or normal difficulty. Feel free to play whatever difficulty that suits you if you want to play along. So the Halo timeline covered. The game is May 28th, 2560 to May 31st, 2560. Audio logs are, October 2559 to May 2560, and then the Forerunner archives are just, oh god, I don't even want to think about what the date on those are. It's too
Way back there.
They're ancient.
Ancient. Versions. So there is a steelbook, but no fancy version of the game. They kind of bundled the game weird, where there was like a statue, but you just bought it completely separately from the game. There is just a crap ton of cool Halo Infinite swag that came out with this, though. I think Colin owns all of it.
I think he bought copies. I think he bought 2 of everything just in case something broke.
He did, didn't he?
I'm actually getting calls from his credit card companies asking for payment. So, Colin, if you could get on that, it's getting really harassing.
You're just my reference.
I'm not sure why you put my name on those. For the marketing, we will cover this as part of Infinite Impressions. So, unlike other mission debriefs, we're not going to cover the marketing here. Stay tuned for the Infinite Impressions episode where we do go over the different marketing that they did for this game. We're going to talk about soap.
Yes.
Because that's a thing. Colin has the soap. Do you smell like Master Chief?
I bought the soap, and I actually haven't used it recently because I've been in the basement. But it's available.
You're not taking showers in the basement?
I am. But my soap is upstairs.
Well,
Your wife should just open the door and throw the soap at you, and
Here's your damn soap.
you're like, I need my soap.
just have one of those hamper drops built in. Just drop it.
I do
through.
like it. Almost sold me on the soap though, because it has the normally I just use a bar of soap, but it has like a little grit in it, so it's like, oh, I feel like I'm exfoliating too. This is great.
Oh gosh.
That's what it's supposed to do.
All right, thanks, Krista. We will cover, like you said, we'll cover marketing. Marketing is all over the place because of the delay and stuff like that. So there'll be a whole fun episode from Podcast Evolved on that. I do want to talk about how we're going to structure these quick. So before we jump into kind of what's new in the game and then the actual walkthrough, because this is a semi-open world, there are different sections of the game that open up to you in different I don't know, just triggers in the game. So once you complete a mission, then you'll be able to explore a certain open world. So these first 2 missions here that we're going to record for you are just standard Halo missions, and then the world opens up. So once the world opens up, we're going to cover everything in that one open world section. So we're going to cover the outposts, the fobs, the high-value targets, which we'll get into more detail in a second. So all that stuff is just going to be in one episode, and then we're going to go back to the individual missions. So that way we can be as thorough as possible. The audio logs that are scattered all over, we're not going to do a walkthrough of those. There are plenty of YouTube videos for that. And then we're also going to separately cover and have an Infinite Impressions episode that's going to cover just the audio logs. We will cover the audio logs that are in the missions, though, because those kind of help add to the story. But the ones that are scattered across the open world, we're not going to cover as a part of this. Everybody good with that?
Sounds like a plan.
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's jump into what's new. I'm going to hand it back over to Krista to take us through, Infinite is a different game. There's lots of different things and new stuff. What do we have, Krista?
Oh my gosh, a new Halo game and there's new things in it? Jesus Christ.
No more ground pound.
All right.
Everyone was
one of the
weeping
big
about that one.
They changed things? Ugh. How could they?
No DMR? What?
Yes, that's right. That's a big one.
Okay, so, what's new? One of the big things is the completion percentage. So that's really cool. You can go and, if you hit load in the main menu of the campaign and you go over whatever save file you want, it'll tell you your completion percentage. It's basically, a combination of the skulls, the audio logs, other collectibles, stuff like that, and that is your completion percentage. Also, just playing the game as well, getting all those other things done on the maps.
Was there an achievement for? Because I did get 100%, but I don't feel like I got
No, there's no achievement for
I don't
100%.
think so.
The achievement is for the individual things, and then when you get them all.
But it will lead to.
Because I'm on 99%, and I'll probably never get 100 until they kind of retroactively put back in replaying missions and stuff.
No, you can do it. If you're at 99%, you got to go through the menu and just unlock everything. Because if your audio.
Oh, is it just read them all? All right, okay.
Yeah,
that's probably what it is.
To them all, and then it'll pop. Yep.
Oh.
All right, okay.
And then you go back into the save and just have a hard save on it.
I have all the achievements.
Also,
doesn't really matter.
Well, you just have to go listen to all
Also-
the audio logs and then do all the other stuff.
Okay, that makes so much more sense now.
Yep.
you have to listen to all of them. I noticed that when I was replaying these missions, it does say that you already collected audio logs, because I had gone in through and got all the audio logs, but not the skulls, so it said 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2, and then 0 out of 1 for the skull as well, so it remembers the stuff you got.
Yep, that's tied to your profile. So if you
which
start
is
up a
nice.
new game, you'll have all that stuff. The skulls will already be found.
So if you did miss something in these opening missions where you can't go back, you can always start a new file and get them that way. So this is a semi-open world. We'll kind of talk about that a little later. There's a lot of stuff. There are outposts, FOBs, UNSC distress calls, HVTs, and propaganda towers, which are honestly the best. Love propaganda towers. They're so funny.
Yep.
So there is no split screen or co-op at all, and now after playing the game, I can kind of see why. I think it would be a little tricky, so I'm sure that they are actively working on that to get that out eventually, but I have no idea how they're going to implement that.
Are they going to add split screen and co-op? It's just not there at launch, right?
I think they're definitely doing both.
I'm not sure about
There's
split
definitely
screen.
split screen coming.
Oh,
Yeah,
are they
they
doing
definitely
both?
said they would put split screen in after Halo 5. I'm pretty sure they said
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
all they've talked about is co-op. you know what I mean? About when we're putting co-op in, that's kind of what. And I think people are equating the two of them to mean the same thing. That if they put co-op in, they'll put it in split screen. I think some of the bones of it are there. We'll talk about the fobs and stuff, and I think like when you go into your map, that doesn't pause the game. Like when you go back and go into your upgrades and look at your diary and audio stuff like that, the game still plays. So I think that might be accommodating for multiple players in the same session, can go in and upgrade their Spartan cores and stuff like that, and not be pausing the game.
I'm honestly curious how far you can get away from your split screen co-op buddy before it transports you into the open world.
I would say because the open world is relatively small and in their sections, you can probably go the length of it. I imagine.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I imagine you can go. But then, can you start multiple missions at the same time? That'd be interesting. Multiple objectives.
I mean, for like the mission, like, and this is talking a little ahead of time, but some of the missions require you to go to different places on the map. So if you're in co-op, can one person go to like one of those objectives and then one person go to the other one, and then like divide and conquer kind of thing?
That'd be interesting to see. Or like Matt, like you said, is there a distance where you just auto teleport back? Who knows?
All right. So some of the other stuff that's new. We have a scan, which is really cool. You can find stuff, including audio logs. I use that a shit ton. There are armor equipment and upgrades to the armor equipment. So we have the grapple shot, which is the single best thing ever implemented in Halo ever. It's so fantastic. We have shield cores, threat sensors, drop walls, and thrusters. Each can be upgraded 4 times. Spartan cores, which are collectibles used to upgrade that equipment. The Spartan Armory, which are collectible lockers that unlock multiplayer customization items, which I love. That is so great. I'm glad that they added that into the campaign so that you can get stuff for multiplayer. There are skulls and collectibles, obviously. Skulls are in some missions. You can't replay the missions, so make sure you get them when you can. And then audio logs, we have Banished UNSC Spartan and Forerunner archives. So there are a lot of different stories going on within the audio logs. It's nice because they do separate them when you go into that menu, so you can listen to an entire story as one block.
Can you go back and talk about the menu? Because that's new too. There's like the
just
map.
the menu in general.
We have a map, right? Like that exists.
Yes, we do have We do have an actual map that you can look at and take a. You can fast travel, you can look at different things on the map, you can zoom in, zoom out, all that kind of fun stuff that comes. It's kind of similar to the ODST map in some regards. That's really cool. And then obviously you have your upgrade tabs, you have your collectibles tabs, you have, people of interest, kind of like a codex kind of tab where you can kind of look at the guys you're going to be fighting. So there's a lot of cool stuff in that menu. If you haven't gone through everything, go ahead and go through it because there are good lore bits in it. So the main enemy that we're fighting is the Banished, which are last seen in Halo Wars 2. If you haven't played Halo Wars 2, I highly suggest you at least go back and watch the cutscenes. They're going to give you a lot of context for who the Banished are. Of course, all of our favorite enemies are back, but now they are wearing red for the most part. They are back, but red.
Right.
Weapon variants. Oh my gosh. You can find those out. You can find those about by defeating HVTs, so high value targets. Keep an eye out for those. They're pretty cool for the most part. Some of them I'm like, some of them I'm like, wow. So
you can find some random ones too. Like, aren't they like sometime? Like I remember, like right after Outpost Harmonious. There's like one on a cliff when I was climbing around, like a plasma pistol that you could find.
There's some random places that they're at.
Yeah.
It's cool though because it does. I mean, there's nooks and crannies all over this map, and because I feel like the map's so condensed, you do find a lot of stuff a lot quicker than if a map was like super stretched out. So I like the frequency of which you can find things. It's really cool. So that's it for the new stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of new weapons, and we'll go through those as we kind of experience them in the campaign.
Perfect. The other thing I want to mention here is we are recording this before everything has been found. So previously, Mission Debrief, we've had a couple years after the game is released for the community to find everything. So, like in the trivia section that David usually covers, like that may not be completely fleshed out. So we'll try to bring up stuff that we found that's been interesting. But I'm sure there's a couple little nuggets that people are finding, and Halopedia is like collecting that just hasn't been recorded yet. So we won't be quite as thorough on all that stuff, but we'll do our best. All right, I think we're ready for the walkthrough.
Goodness.
Our debriefing. So I'm gonna go.
Oh my god.
Here we go. The last mission was Manifestation from Halo Wars 2. So that's the DLC from Halo Wars 2. Back on the surface of the Ark, a proto-gravemind has emerged and threatened to take over Installation 00. With Atriox breathing down their neck, Voridus and Pavium reunited to secure the area and fix their grave mistake. Remember that?
Yeah, it was a grave my mistake.
That was back in June of 2559. So now we are in, well, I'll get to it in a second. So the current mission is Warship Gbraakon. After Atriox tosses Master Chief around the Infinity like a ragdoll, he's found adrift in space by Echo 216 6 months after the UNSC lost the battle that left Zeta Halo broken. The pilot jumpstart John 117's Mjolnir armor just as the Banished capture their Pelican on Warship Gbraakon. Chief borrows the pilot's pistol and launches into action to free the Pelican and get back into the fight. So the date of the game, the opening cutscene is December 12th, 2559. So that's about, June to December, about 5-6 months after we last played. And then Warship Gbraakon is 6 months after that. Chief's been floating. And so we are now in May 28th, 2560.
I gotta say, a 6-month nap sounds really nice.
A little cryo sleep there.
I would enjoy that.
Maybe the pandemic will be over by then. Take a little naparoo. All right, so now we're going to let David talk for a little bit. He's going to take us through these opening cinematics that's like 25 minutes long.
There's a lot of cutscene.
It's a
lot of
hefty
cutscene.
one. And then we'll get into the boots on the ground shooting stuff. So David, take it away.
All right, guys. So this game begins with Halo, and it looks real nice. And then
that's the Halo from Halo 5, by the way.
Is it though? Is it?
It is.
Is it though?
It's the exact same cutscene.
Well, that's kind of cool. And then it just does like
legendary ending.
A kind of Star Wars pan to the right, and you see the Infinity getting fucked up by the Banished.
Again.
Like always.
Again.
So this game really just throws you into the deep end. I've said it on other podcasts. I was like, where the hell is the actual intro to this game? Because it just has the Infinity properly getting wrecked. It's clearly banished. They're all over the place. It quickly pans you into the docking bay where you see Chief fighting. Pelican's getting blown up. There's Marines everywhere. It's pretty damn cool. It's really slick. Like, it looks really damn cool. Chief is just bouncing around killing enemies. The shield effect, I didn't notice it like the very first time, where it's like hexagons or like pentagons all around, which is kind of cool. He uses his grapple hook to grab a pistol, showing you straight away. Like, you start with the grapple, and then like out of the fucking blue, Atriox shows up and fucking beats the shit out of John. I mean, it's brutal. It's like,
it's amazing.
Like, I did not expect to get Atriox versus John in the intro. I mean, this game really sets up a unique style of storytelling as well, because it's not a build up to the boss. It's the boss wrecked you. Kind of the way Halo Wars 2 kind of started. So it's kind of reminiscent of that. I've seen like Red Team. I think it was Douglas getting his ass handed to him by Atriox.
By Atriox.
Crushes his helmet.
Crushes his helmet, yeah. And there's kind of like Atriox hits John a good few times dead on with his hammer maul thing, and like I thought it would do more damage, but John takes it like a champ, to be fair. One of them he straight up blocks with his shoulder. I was like, that's your arm gone, dude. Like, do you know what I mean? But no. Atriox drags John to the end. There's like a scene where like he hits John in the face and the AI chip bounces out. John scrambles to kind of get it. There's an indication here, like you can kind of tell it's empty, but John still scrambles to pick it up. Atriox carries him over to the end, end of the kind of railway leading him out to space, and just says, "My name is Aatrox, I'm the last face you'll ever see." And then he kind of drops him in like the classic not kill your hero at the beginning of the game, but you probably should have killed the hero at the beginning of the game kind of moment for the villain. And John just kind of tries to shoot his grapple hook as he drifts off to space, and he misses, and then we get kind of a fade to black. But it's pretty cool. It's obviously
so good. Oh my gosh!
I was so shocked at the intro too.
Shocked.
And then we kind of wake up and we're into the E3 demo of the intro. I didn't realize that it was literally copy and paste that. So I won't spend too much time on it. We've all seen it hundreds of times.
A couple little changes here and there.
Is there though? I'm pretty sure it's word for word the same.
I mean, John has his grapple hook when
I guess. I mean, you have the pilot waking up. He's scrambling around to fix a leak. You've all seen it. He falls down. It cuts to like a couple of months later. He's hairier. He's got a beard. You don't know the timeline yet, but obviously time has passed. He finds the tag going off. He opens up his window and he sees John floating in space. It's slightly different now.
Where he finds his family thing.
Yeah, he has the family thing. The little hologram again,
which gets really creepy.
Yeah, I like the use of it. I like the use of it later.
No spoilers.
Yeah, I like the use of it later. But this is it's cool. He obviously brings John on board somehow and kind of repowers him up. You have the standard. And it does it in all the difficulties. I don't know why. Look up, down, left, and right. I don't think there's really any need to do it again. Obviously, you've done it once, and everyone knows how to invert their settings at this stage. But they did it.
Tradition.
It is. Yeah.
John walks forward, and all these pipes fall out of his back that like mysteriously don't go anywhere. I mean, there's like one part. There's like 50 pipes fall out, but like there's like one pipe circle. I don't really know what's going on here, but it's crazy. There is a cool moment of John jacking the AI chip. It's in his fist still. He opens on it. He puts it in, and you see kind of John's visor booting up from first person, and you see a bunch of text and stuff scrolling, which is pretty cool. There's some cool stuff in this game, true, on John's visor. So like, if you haven't, try and read what pops up. Some of it's kind of subtle and kind of hints at like some of the stuff that happens in the story, so that's kind of cool. This is
his suit talks to him throughout the game, and you can miss it if
you're
not paying attention.
Exactly, yeah. And interestingly, this chip is called something a little bit different, and you'll notice at the start it's an AI containment device. I think the containment becomes important later on as to kind of what's actually happening in the story. So that's kind of cool. And then the pilot's like, you don't know what's happening. John's looking for a mission report.
Well, 1 second. It says the weapon's missing, right?
Does it say that?
Containment device empty.
I thought that's what it said. I didn't think it said weapon.
It does say no AI.
Yeah, I didn't think it called out the weapon yet.
Oh wait, hold on. I can look. AI not detected.
Yeah, okay. No weapon just yet. There's a slow pan. We've all seen it.
It says weapon containment device.
Does it though?
Yeah.
Weapon containment device inserted. No AI detected.
Interesting. So like that's the setup that like the AI. Well, we kind of knew from the cutscenes anyway that like the AI is a weapon, the weapon. So John kind of opens the cockpit of the shuttle. Pelican, he sees the Halo. The Halo's fucked up. That's pretty cool. The pilot pretty much says, we've lost. The battle's over. Then immediately they're found. The power shuts down. They're in kind of a stasis. Pilot freaks out, tries to run. John is like, no, give me a weapon. It's a good line.
I need a weapon.
And he pretty much gives them a pistol with one bullet, which is nice. Good callback.
Better than keys.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I don't know if keys can be.
Although it was loaded.
Yeah. And then John pretty much jumps out the back of the Pelican, and this kind of like cutscene, I love this. The way this is done and the way this is told, where he goes through space and he kind of bumps into different kind of debris, and obviously like you have dead Marines and dead Covenant race out here, dead Banished, that are like in their months. And he's kind of scavenging as he kind of bounces through. This is all like a nice linear kind of movement. He pulls a fusion coil and shoots it to get like a block, and conveniently immediately finds a spare clip floating in space for this pistol.
Magazine.
Warthog, and like
it's a magazine.
Pulls the pistol. Like it's real slow. His movements are real slow around like dead Marines. I've kind of noticed that. And like when he's moving a body past, when he's moving like through the aliens, he's just pushing them and bouncing them out of the way. He doesn't give a fuck. When he moves through humans, he's like slowly pushing them aside and stuff like that. I really like that. I like those kind of movements in John. He's really battle weary, and it kind of shows how he's kind of being a little bit reverential towards the human dead. And then he pretty much shoots his grapple hook and bounces into the ship. And there is essentially the setup for the mission is that this is like a scavenger ship out in space, pulling shit and debris apart. And that's pretty much the beginning of the first mission.
Beauty. I do the fact that he essentially gathers his loadout for the beginning of this mission, I think, is rad.
It is. Yeah.
Get an extra clip for or magazine for the pistol.
Welcome to the party.
And then you find the AR from the dead Marines, and that's what you start this mission with, which is awesome. Right when you hit your boots on the ground in the ship, it pops up the scan prompt. So it's like, okay, start scanning shit. So, Krista, did you wander around this opening area just scanning everything right away, or?
Oh my god, when I first played this mission, I probably spent like 15 minutes in this area looking for stuff.
Refusing to move on.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. What are all these glowy things around me? I must find them.
Yeah. So you can explore this. It's like a hangar, I guess, with all the junk. And the pilot's talking to you.
Red light, go.
What's going on? So his plan is to go stay back and try to recharge the batteries of the pilot, while Chief is going to try to figure out how to get you off of the ship. You also do get a prompt for the grapple shot, and you have that right away. So that's your equipment that you have the entire game, and your essential equipment. You don't really, for the most part, you're probably going to use grapple shot. I don't know, 90% of the time throughout this game, because you can only have one equipment equipped throughout, or one at a time.
Why walk when you can grapple shot?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll talk
I'll also say, before
throughout.
we get too much further, I love the mission intros where it has like the title and all the collectibles in the mission.
Yep.
I like that. I like that it immediately sets you up with, okay, you have X number of collectibles to find in this mission. I like that a lot.
So, and it's an open world, but there are specific missions, and it does have that, to David's point, that title. So this is the mission. Here are the audio logs you can collect and the skulls you can collect, so that when you are, scanning frantically, and it'll tell you if you have received or collected them throughout. So, but the bummer, I think, as Krista mentioned, is you can't replay missions currently. So hopefully they add that eventually. You can go to the left or the right here at the beginning. There's a conveyor belt on the left that you can go up and kill some grunts. Or on the right, you have to grapple up, and you kind of get into like a little office area and kind of bounce around. There's like a hologram of the ship that you're in, which is cool, and everything's red and banished. And the art style of this ship, it feels like kind of like Covenant from like a structural standpoint, but then all the aesthetics is just very banished. You see, banished logos on the walls and everything. Like I said, everything's red, so it's very, very well done, I think. This ship, and it's a classic opening mission for Halo. Like,
I always imagine it like this is what Brute architecture is like.
Yeah.
Like this is what their technology is like before the Covenant came along.
It's not as curved.
It's like industrial.
Yeah. It's not
very
as
industrial,
curved,
very harsh. Yeah. I like
sharper edges.
And like Colin said, it's a nice standard Halo. You're on a spaceship, first mission. It's pretty standard.
I love that because it starts you in familiar territory.
Yep.
Yeah, big time.
You're introduced to, so you have, like I said, you have your opening loadout. You have plasma pistols that you can pick up. There's needlers you can pick up, and there's a mauler you can pick up, which is a new weapon. And the mauler looks so badass, right? Like it's this giant like shotgun pistol thing, and then it has these spikes on the bottom of it, and you could just, you could hit somebody to take down their shield, and then just maul them to death with one shot.
It's incredible, by the way. That gun is great.
Yeah.
In my first playthrough, I didn't play through it as much, but then I watched the HCS tournament that just happened, the first one for Halo Infinite, and all these pro players were using it. I'm like, okay, I need to try using this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't like it right away, but once I heard that the pro players were using it, I was like, oh, maybe it is good. So it's a combo of one shot plus melee that just wrecks people.
You can also see that it's just a huge freaking spike, and it looks so brutal.
Yeah. The Grunt birthday party, by the way, Krista, did you play with it on? The skull?
No, I haven't unlocked that skull yet.
Okay. It's a little.
Wait, do you
it's
unlock
towards
it
the end of the game where you unlock it, but I did turn it on for this playthrough, and it's very good. Like the confetti is just all over the place. I feel like the yays are not quite as
high
loud.
quality confetti.
But the confetti is awesome. They just burst all over the place.
The Banished didn't skimp with their confetti purchase.
Right. So very enjoyable there. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, we talked about audio logs. So there is one audio log that is just unlocked by playing this mission. I don't know if it's at the beginning or in the middle or when exactly it unlocks, but you can go and access it in your menu. And Matt is going to take us through the audio logs that are in this mission at the very end of our walkthrough. So know that. But I will mention the ones that you find here in a little bit. All right, so we get through this little office area, and then this is one of those weird, like, kind of demo-y parts of the mission where the doors are like pulled apart by one of those berserker brutes. So they're all red. They have like a jaw.
Is that what they're called? I've been calling them
berserkers.
punchy boys.
They have like
They're the punchy boys.
jaw protection, but that's it, and like something around the back of their head. They look pretty tough, but they just charge you, and they're very scary.
They're
This first one
Rambrute.
isn't bad, but I love how his introduction. He just rips apart these walls or the door, and then chucks it at you, and then you essentially have enough of a hallway to just pop him in the head and kill him.
Yeah.
So he's not that hard.
Yo, when I saw him running through the door, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna kill me. And then I shot him a couple times, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
All that hype for nothing.
Right, exactly. But they set you up for that pretty easily. All right, so we kill that guy, and then we continue on through the ship. And I mean, it's a lot of it is just kind of. Actually, the first right behind him is you see Atriox. And you have you see Atriox is posing in this hologram, and I think a lot of what the Banished are doing, especially Escharum, as you hear his voice here in this room, he's kind of like hyping up the Banished the entire time.
Yep.
Just like, giving a rah-rah speech, and a lot of this audio we've heard in some of the marketing materials. The other thing I noticed is at one point, one of the lines you do hear Escharum like wheeze a little bit, which is interesting. It is introduced at the very beginning here.
That boy needs an inhaler.
He's got some asthma going on.
Yeah, just open a window. The Banished ships are just too stuffy. Just
Get him some albuterol, please.
So we'll talk a little bit more about him later, but I love his voice.
Is this when he starts alluding that Atriox might not be around anymore?
Yes.
That confused the shit out of me. I loved it because it's such a cool. I like how this game, like, you see the beginning, and then 6 months later, and it's just like you have no idea what the fuck's going on. So you are like, wait, where's Atriox? Who's this Escharum guy? What's going on with this? So I love how they set that up. Almost
it's a total
immediately.
it's a total cop-out story of like, or not cop-out, maybe like a bait and switch of like you thought the game was about this and it isn't.
Okay, we'll keep going here. So now after you meet this giant hologram of Atriox, and Escherum's saying like he's gone or lost or something.
They're gonna start selling those, by the way, Colin. So start saving up.
I will definitely buy one of those. Put it in my bedroom.
Oh gosh.
Oh god, I'm not sure your wife would like.
Can we turn off the red light?
No.
No, the red light stays on
He's
during
watching over us.
bedtime.
So we crawl through, we grab some coils and throw them at some grunts and things like that. And there's all these weapon racks on the side. We kill a bunch of these brute, I think they're called brute miners. And they just have little helmets you gotta pop off and give them headshots. Most of them have maulers, so they're not too difficult to take down. I mean, really, David, are you just using mauler, or are you sticking to your UNSC weapons for the most in this opening area?
Actually, one thing we haven't touched on yet, we said it in other podcast stuff, but I am a huge fan of the ammo boxes, of these generic ammo boxes.
Yes.
One of the best things Halo Infinite did was create generic ammo for weapons doing kinetic, electric, plasma, and power. And now the power boxes are pretty rare, but like, man, I was always on the hunt for the kinetic using those orange boxes because it refills the like you said, the mangler. It refills all the UNSC weapons bar. I think the sniper is power and the rocket launcher obviously is power. but it refills everything else, and it's pretty amazing. So like, I used a lot. Like, okay, my first playthrough, I bounced through all the weapons, just get a feel for them. Quickly established that the disruptor pistol is the worst weapon ever created. It's probably the biggest whiff in this whole game. The plasma pistol isn't as good anymore because it doesn't do EMP. EMP comes from electric now, so like the shock rifles are pretty dope for that. But we're getting too far ahead. In this mission, I played with all the weapons. I like the plasma carbine in campaign only. It's pretty good. It's good for taking those shields and stuff like that pretty rapidly. The needler's the same. The needler's always ever been. It's grand. Yeah. And then other than that, it was the mangler and all the Unity weapons I kind of bounced between. I kind of kept. I like the AR. I think the AR is pretty solid. The sidekick is pretty good too. It's no CE pistol, but it's pretty good. You know what I mean? It does a good job. And in this mission as well, there is the bulldog and the BR are in it as well to be found. So I'm not a massive fan of the bulldog. 7 shots doesn't feel like enough. The max ammo isn't great either. It's like 2 clips, I think, and then it's empty. But like I said, I kind of bounced around those kind of weapons.
Yeah, the other cool thing that you can do with the grapple shot is you can grapple coils and weapons to you, which is super nice. Yeah,
grappling coils is like the thing you learn to do pretty quick in this game.
And just the explosions that they create, and if you're out of ammo or low on ammo, grappling coils and shot.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah, I like how they're all different as well. They have like different effects, which is pretty cool. I like them a lot.
Alright, so we proceed through here, and then we get to this giant room, which looks too big to be on this ship, but it has a bunch of these structures, and we'll find out more about these structures later, and they do talk about it later, so I guess we'll mention it. Is they're more or less being dropped down onto the ring for like bases and things like that. So you have this giant room full of that. You have a little jumping section to test out your grapple shot skills right away. So do that, and then we're going to go clear some jackals and some brutes in this area as we hear like the intercom talking to you. And then we get to go up an elevator.
Just before we leave this room, Colin, I will say I really like that this is in the game because this is showing you Halo Wars 2 stuff. This is base building from space. This is when you call in something, you see it being dropped down, and these are the ships that do that. I like the game doesn't lean on it too much, but I wish they would go into like the resource gathering nature that you have to perform in this area. So I like the idea that the Banished are out there harvesting resources from space, building components and shooting them down in these ships to like build up their forces on the ring. I think that's pretty cool, and it's just kind of lightly touched on, but I really like it. I like the flavor of it.
Agreed. The art style is different than Halo Wars 2, so it'll be interesting if there is a Halo Wars 3, if they carry forward this art style and like these structures.
Colin, you just played Halo Wars 3. Like, this is it.
This is it. They married the two.
Yeah.
So up the elevator, the pilot chimes in and was like, well, what if we're the only two humans on the ring? Or 2 left alive? And then what does Brute say? Chief says, then there's still hope.
Dun dun.
Can't stop Chief.
Chief's a glass half full kind of guy.
He is. Well,
he is John Hope in this game.
John Hope.
He is John Hope. At the top of the elevator, there is an audio log. So that's the UNSC audio log. And this one it's a Spartan audio log. And it's from the evacuation storyline.
Infinity
so the ones
down.
In the mission, I believe this is how it works. The ones in the missions are unlocked like as the individual numbers, but the ones in the open world are all unlocked in order.
Yes.
So in order to get all of the like this storyline, the evacuation storyline, you do have to find them all. And you could find like 2, then you could find 4, then you could find 7. I don't forget how many there are. But then you have to go back and fill in the blanks for the missions. But everything else, again, is unlocked in order, which is handy. Kind of like with Sadie's story in ODST. But we'll cover that at the end of the mission. So then, we continue on through the ship. I mean, really the rest of this mission from here is just going around the ship and just finding the main control room. There is a spot for the skulls here coming up. So you do... go off. There's like this room that you enter, and then there's these, I don't know, these things, these platforms that are going up and down on the right of the room that you enter, and that's where you're gonna hop on one of those and then go and find the skull there. David, did you find all the skulls naturally when you were going through, or did you?
No, I found 2 skulls naturally in the whole game.
Okay.
And then I went back and found them all using guides and stuff. I wasn't still going to spend my life. Like, I did a lot of looking in this game. I spent a lot of time faffing around, exploring and stuff, and I only found 2, so I was like, okay, I'm not spending another 30 hours trying to find shit myself. I'm looking them up.
There's a couple rooms that are just giant, and you're like, there's got to be a skull in here.
Yeah.
There's not a skull in there.
And
there's certain areas where I'm like, okay, I spent 15 minutes to get here. There has to be something here, and I might just be like a dead marine with a gun, and I'm like, God damn it. No.
I do want to promote Halo Cannon's skull guide. He actually has guides for everything, so go check out those. Those are pretty fantastic, straight to the point, very well made. Definitely go do that. Krista, did you find the skulls, or did you?
I found one.
Okay.
It was by a really cool Easter egg in the open world. But nope, nothing else.
Yeah.
I explored the shit out of this map too, and I could only find one.
So big. I found one naturally too.
Okay.
We might have all found.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to find that one.
Yep. Yeah, you do pick up a bulldog here eventually through this, and then there is one room. It actually might be before the skull room, where there's a hologram of the AR. Did you guys notice that?
Yep.
At all?
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, why? Is it a little like?
There's a lot of cool holograms.
Yeah.
There's one of the ring and
Well,
the ship.
I think it ties into like a much later mission column, which we'll talk to, and like one of the things the Banished was doing in preparation for this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You nailed it.
Yeah. I gotcha. Yep. So there are a couple spots as you're getting to the, I guess, the main, the main control room of the ship, where you can like go like around. There's like multiple routes, which I think is kind of fun. But you never really feel lost like you did on Pillar of Autumn, the first, of Halo CE. So everything is pretty much straightforward. Plus you have the scanner and it gives you a waypoint and stuff like that. But overall, pretty happy with how it's structured. There is a point where you reach a door right before you get to the main control area that you do kind of the everything else. There are 2 giant Atriox holograms, and there is some audio. I think I wrote it down here. Let me find it. Oh no, Eshram talks. Okay, yeah. So you find those Atriox holograms. You open the door, and then Eshram talks.
Yep.
You get a little introduction to him, and he says, "The hour approaches. Soon the Banished will stand victorious. Atriox, hear these words. Even from beyond this life, your will is served. Your forces occupy the ring. Within hours, it will be under our control. Humanity will cower before your legacy. They will burn. Their brazen defiance will be all but a memory." Whoever wrote this dialogue just had so much fun.
That's some kick-ass trash talking right there.
Yeah.
I know. He's a really good trash talker, Eshram. He's got a gift.
Yeah.
He should do rap battles.
So yeah, I was as an Atriox fan when I heard this and was hearing his other dialogue. I was like, Atriox is what? He's gone. Like, what the hell? Like, how could they do that to us? So that was a little frustrating, especially when they showed him right away. So according to Eshram, Atriox is not around, potentially dead, which is a bummer. And then Chief, after he sees that Eshram's speech, he says, "We got a new problem." And we got to deal with this guy. So we're introduced to the 2 big old brutes. Yeah. So then we have this giant room here. Chris or Matt, maybe Matt, do you want to take us through this room and kind of what we have to do here?
Yeah. So there's this actually Eshram's at the very far end of it. So you have this really kind of long corridor, and then on the sides you have like little sneaking around areas. Usually there's like a main kind of grouping of brutes right on the bridge that was listening to Eshram's rap battle speech. and and so you can kind of sneak up on him or attack him. There is a kinetic weapons reload to your right. You also have an Eshram audio log here.
Yep.
And so that's over
That's
on...
Eshram's testimony, so that's really interesting, and we'll talk about that later. But those are throughout all the missions.
I want to say it's on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's on the right of that. So you basically make your way over to the console, and Chief decides to use his amazing hacking skills to just show you that he's on top of everything. They, Chief's number one mission is asset denial, scuttle, destroy.
I love how in all the years, he's learned absolutely nothing about computers. Like, I know how to push a button, and that's it. Like, it's all I got.
I love that entire exchange. It's like, oh man, there's an encryption on this, and the pilot's like, can you hack it? No!
Immediately,
Just
no.
punches it.
I refuse.
Oh, it's so good.
Just completely crushes it. Then he realizes that they have to shut down these two. They were the cooling engines of it, so that it's basically like the Halo 5 mission, Argent Moon, where you had to take out the cooling systems. So that's what he had to do. And there's one on each side, so you gotta like open it up and shoot it. There's bunches of brutes that come in. Honestly, this room is really, really fun. I think it really kind of gives you, like Colin was saying, having Eshram talk and saying these kind of like mournful words about Aatrox, how great he was. You know, it really kind of pushes you into the story. And I think this room where you get a little bit of humor, which is actually kind of nice. So, and then Chief goes to his normal. We got to destroy it.
You get the Ravager here. This is the first time you get the Ravager.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
And playing with the Ravager in multiplayer, I was like, this gun is terrible. It can't kill anything. But in the campaign, it's actually decent.
That's like with every gun. Every gun is like 10 times better in campaign.
Right. So it shoots these like balls of, I don't know, fire at you. Then so it has that little arc, but then it has a little AoE effect on the ground where it lands, and so it'll chip away at the enemy's health or shields.
Yeah, it has an alt fire where you charge it up and you can shoot a AoE blast. Which is actually really good for later on.
It's good for getting enemies that are hiding behind a barrier.
Yeah.
And
it shoots in an arc like it lobs.
It could, like the Wraith tank.
Right. So when on this part of the level, so the first time I played this, I kind of was all over the place, and you have to go. There's two cooling, I don't know, units, I guess, on the sides that you have to blow up. Mm-hmm. But you can just stay on top. You don't even have to go down there. You can just stay on top and then just aim down.
Yep.
Krista, how did you tackle this section?
I went to facing the door you came in. I always go to the left one first for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So I took the first one out with a mauler.
Nice.
And then grappled up to the top level again, got rid of a couple more brutes, and then grabbed the Ravager and dropped down and took out the other one. That's kind of how I did it. I like this room a lot. It really gives you an idea of how you can use the grappling hook to kind of get you around a map.
Yep.
It's really cool. Oh god, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, very good. All right, Matt, I'll hand it back to you to kind of finish her off, at least the next section here.
All right. Okay.
So you just essentially blow up each of the cooling events. Then you got to go.
Okay.
The engine.
So on your way to overloading the engine, you of course counter more enemies along the way. It is an interesting thing that like how you come across enemies, that it's always kind of in like a little pairing in this area where like you see more jackals and grunts with brutes, as opposed to the room where you previously came from that is just a bunch of brutes on that little like walkway. Mm-hmm. So you just keep trekking along. Let me see where I can actually pull it up. Okay, so then you go in and flip the switch, and you just fire the engines. It actually is beautiful, beautiful like cutscene of it just like getting completely wrecked, and then Eshram you turn around and there's Eshram and his red glow stick. And he's and he's like, oh, a Spartan, and he goes, oh, something more, the Master Chief. And I think you really kind of see that he was really invigorated by seeing Chief here. That it kind of sparked a new battle here. Eshrum's like, either we're gonna go down in songs and glory with this fight. And then he does a lot of trash talking about how humanity sucks and how it was so easy to take him out and how great the Banished are and stuff like that. So the whole place is blown up all around you because you've just completely scuttled the ship. And you go to the left because you have a little a waypoint that's kind of pulling you, so you don't leave the way you came in. And on your way out, you can grab that Banished audio log. It does give you a prompt saying, hey, here's a Banished audio log. Pick these up too, because you're going to need it to fill your load thing. So there's this part where you're running through all the rooms and you come to that area you were talking about, Colin, that has the AR, and there's like spilled acid or some kind of thing.
Something? Yeah.
Something on the floor, which is kind of neat. So I think this also kind of...
That's plasma, because when you shoot the plasma coils, like that's what comes out on them on the ground and burns. It's like blue plasma.
Okay.
Okay, so you do the plasma, and it's really kind of neat to see how you can kind of use the grapple shot to avoid sticky situations. You go to the right and you jump down the elevator, and it doesn't go all the way, so you got to learn how to crouch. Get yourself through it. Eshram continues to pop up in his little glow stick form and talk about things. It really is neat having Eshram, I think, having all these kind of conversations throughout the mission. It really does pull, like, it fleshes him out more, I think. Then you go back to that open room that Colin was talking about, how you can't imagine it's in the ship, but it is. And then all these bases are falling around you, these bases that you would think would be dropped down on the ring or on any kind of platform. And so you're running in between, on, over, through, you're jumping out of them.
Yep.
It's really cool. I think it's one of the coolest missions. You can also use the grapple shot a lot here.
At some point during the escape here, it teaches you how to sprint, which I think is good. It's like, oh, hey, look, you can sprint. And then also you get your crouch. So this is, again, it's all a big tutorial.
Super soldiers can run.
Exactly.
Yeah. What?
So you
The other thing in this, room, the big room that you just mentioned, is there's something on the intercom. Like there's a brute over the intercom talking about how the ship is falling apart, and there's some really good dialogue. It's like, all right, here's a good one. Crew capacity at 37%. Only the strongest remain. Fight, brothers. So he's like essentially giving everybody updates and saying, like, here's how many people are dead, but everybody that's still alive are the strong ones. It's so good.
Meanwhile, you run past and there's a grunt screaming.
Right.
So then you hop along these little fallen, which just happens to fall so perfectly for you to climb across. And then you come to, I guess it would be like a reverse hangar or area where you do encounter some grunts and a brute, and they're right standing next to a bunch of fusion coils. So if you just hit one, they all kind of go out. You trek down another really long hallway, and everything's blowing up. And I've always got to the point where, like, I try to shoot them before the fire gets them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's
but they do
fun.
A lot of the times they'll just die because the environment will kill them.
The environment is killing all of them. And so then you run down, you crouch under a door, cutscene triggers, you're getting tossed around. Chief's kind of stumbling. He lifts up a door and slides out, and he's back into the place, looks like where you kind of started, that same kind of look, scrapyard area, and he's floating towards the Pelican, and he's almost getting him, and he doesn't make it.
Yeah.
And he tumbles through space.
The end of this mission feels like a better version of Halo 4's first mission, where you're escaping. Dawn is the mission. I don't know. Did anybody else get that same vibe, kind of when you're like outside of the outside of Requiem, kind of?
Only now that you've said it, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I really like this escape. Any other thoughts on this escape part, Krista?
Oh my gosh, with all of the like grappling and shit. Oh my goodness. It's I found it hard to find some of the paths sometimes, especially in those platforming sections and stuff like that.
Yeah, my first time through, I definitely died a lot.
But I think it was really cool. Obviously, again, it highlights how useful the grapple shot is and how you need to use it and stuff like that. That's what this first mission really feels like. It's a tutorial mission. It's making you use all these different equipments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, love it. Cool. Escaping stuff is cool.
The other thing to mention... Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say, I like how it ends with you just staring at this shattered ring.
Yeah.
And then the Pelican comes to get you. But you get a nice long shot of like, yeah, this ring's
Fucked.
But it went boom.
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 Yeah, and then
Will we learn how it goes boom?
There is an audio, or like a, you know how your suit kind of talks to you? Your suit talks to you here, too. It says, what? Constructing message, parsing encoded data, location detected.
Subsystem failed.
Right.
Retrieve weapon.
Yeah, it says retrieve weapon here. So it is, and I couldn't figure out if someone was sending that message to Chief, or
Yeah, I think so. That's...
if the suit was just reminding him what his mission was.
I thought Chief just sent a bunch of
I'm
reminders.
No,
sure
he
that-
has a thing because in the next cutscene he talks about it, tracking a thing, a signal. So I think he does
I'm sure there
receive.
probably is a looping signal going on as well to
Yeah.
the location of this asset.
Yeah.
Chief just sent a reminder. He goes, "Hey, suit, remind me in 6 months to retrieve the weapon."
Wake me up in 6 months.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep
thanks.
for a bit.
Yeah.
Wake me
Set
up
an
and remind me
alarm.
what my
Yeah.
objective
Shoot, I overslept.
Damn it.
And then the very end is the pilot Echoes 216 is picking you up. You grapple shot into the back of the Pelican, and then we get a title
Love
screen.
it.
Halo Infinite.
Oh.
The game begins. So yeah, I thought that was a fun first mission. You know, lots to do. I feel like it's a good tutorial mission. Explains how to move around the game a lot. It introduces the Banished as an enemy. It introduces a ton. So they I feel like they did a really good job here with this opening mission. I'm gonna go around the room quick, and you know how we did our 20 for 20. We're not gonna rank all the aspects of the mission, but I do want everybody just to give it a quick number from 1 to 10. Matt, how would you rate this mission?
Oh, gee. I really love this mission. I like that it sets up a lot of the mysteries, after you come out. So I'd say, I'm gonna go 8. 8.
You almost went 9.
I know. Well, we don't do points, but I probably would give it a point. But on any given day, I think the more I play it, the more I'll probably like it more. But 8 feels good right now. I'm kind of level setting myself for missions yet to come.
Okay, Krista.
I agree with that. I'd say an 8 as well. I was thinking like a 7.5 to 8. I think it's, familiar territory, especially starting in a ship, scuttling the ship, escaping to a ring, blah, 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 blah. So I think it was really a really good intro for the game that kind of started you off in familiar territory, especially considering all the major gameplay changes that happen later with the open world and stuff like that. So it's nice that they started you off with more of a corridor crawler just to teach you everything, and then later they're like, okay, here's the world now that you know what the fuck you're doing.
Don't worry, guys. This is still the Halo you love.
David?
I'm not as strong as it. I'll probably say a 7, because I think this game has got much stronger things in mind. But I like it. I like it a lot. It's a perfect introduction to this game.
Yeah, I think it toes the 7 and the 8. I'll just give it a 7 as well, mainly because it is basic. There's not a lot of tough fights here, but the storytelling and the cutscenes and all stuff like that all brings it up. I do like the aesthetic of the ship itself, but yeah, it's fairly simple and from like a gameplay standpoint. So we'll tuck it at a 7 from my standpoint. Okay, now we have any trivia to mention, David?
Not
Anything?
really. I mean, Halo PD is very quiet on Halo Infinite at the moment.
Yeah. They haven't found a ton of stuff yet, so again, we'll I don't know. We'll have to readdress that somehow, But it's out there. Everybody's still discovering all the goodies. So I did notice like some, besides like the Banished logos that were on the walls, there were some like, it looked like maybe Forerunner writing was on the wall. So maybe there's something there. But we'll continue to unlock and discover that stuff. Okay, now we are gonna do the audio logs, and Matt's gonna handle this one for us now.
Yeah.
Now that he's joined the squad.
Okay, so this one is actually, the first one, UNSC audio logs, The Plan, Catherine Elizabeth Halsey. This one's October 6th, 2559.
How many now?
16 systems shut down so far. Seemingly random locations. I'm attempting to lock her and the others out of the main...
You will not be able to stop her. She knows more about how this all works than, well, anyone.
Dr. Halsey,
John.
what's the plan?
The plan? Right now, we are in survival mode. Again. Cortana's message has spread across the galaxy. Most sentient AI are siding with her.
Against us.
Yes. But maybe not you. Tell me, John. What was the last thing she said to you?
She said, goodbye.
Bum, bum,
I
bum.
mean, she said a little bit more than that.
She
but-
said
but okay.
goodbye, John.
Ooh, you're right. He forgot about that.
She said, welcome home, John.
So this is October 6th, and we have read some books.
Oh.
So this is
Wait, we were supposed to read
before
books?
or during... No, this is right before Shadows of Reach, correct?
There are books?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Because they haven't got like the Shadow of Reach directly ties into like the plan of this game at the beginning of the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet.
And we know things of Shadows of Reach, that there was a retrieval mission. We'll probably get more into detail what that was later on in this series. But go read that book. It was well made. It was good. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. Cool. Anything else to mention about this one, guys? David, Krista?
No, I just like hearing Halsey and John talk,
Yeah.
honestly. So it's nice that Halsey's obviously more in the spotlight than she once was. So it's good that they're using her character more within the games.
I think it's amazing that Jen Taylor can go from Halsey, Cortana, and like it just sounds great. But it is nice to hear Halsey again. I miss her quick wit.
Do you think Jen Taylor got paid for 3 characters?
Of course.
Like
Yes,
separately?
definitely.
I hope so. All right, next one, Matt.
All right, next one is in the Spartan audio logs category, and it is called, it's in the evacuation subset, and this one is called Infinity Down. So the description is this takes place on December 12th, 2559. Captain Lasky orders all hands aboard the UNSC Infinity to abandon ship because the paperweight finally got click-clacked.
Captain Lasky's lifeboat is away, sir.
Good. Now for the rest of us. Rally up with your squad and get to the nearest pod, Marine. Move, move.
Yes, sir.
Fire Team Taurus, rendezvous with me at Bay 18. We're heading to the surface.
Acknowledged. We're on the move.
The rest of you Spartans, if you're not already off the Infinity, disengage and get to the lifeboats ASAP. Windfall 1, we got a lot of personnel en route to Zeta Halo. What are you seeing out there?
Banished hardware's everywhere. In the skies and on the ground. Be ready for a rough landing.
You heard her. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the ground, Spartans.
We're with you, Griffin.
Let's get it done.
So I like in that initial cutscene, it introduces you to all 4 of them.
Yeah, this is Fire Team Taurus, and we do find out more about them in audio logs throughout the game. Is there 4 or is there 5? Griffin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, 5. Oh, I forgot
1,
Vattel.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think there's 5.
You have Vattel, Stone, Makovich, Horvath, and Griffin.
Yep. So cool little, like, it just, more or less the Infinity's getting effed up. Everybody besides Chief is also getting off the range, so we have little stories to tell here.
I think the most interesting thing about this one is that Lasky is off Infinity.
Yep.
Yes.
Because the first transport is away.
Away.
Alright, now let me go find Eshrom's testimony. Eshrom's testimony, first one, is called Lost. Description is just log Eshrom. Lost. So they don't give you a date for this one.
It is with a heavy heart that I must accept that Atriox, my greatest achievement, is lost to us. In his wake stands the greatest army ever assembled, a force fueled by fury. His spirit burns in the heart of the banished. It is years since he sought my counsel when we planned the revolt against the Covenant. His words, even now I feel them in my heart. We will never kneel again. We will stand proud together, banished brothers, side by side.
It's a really moving speech. It really is.
But it's his own. I think he's talking to himself, like this testimony stuff. I don't know. That's what I got from all these. I mean, this is obviously
Yeah,
the
'cause
first one.
It's like his memoirs.
I think we'll probably talk to it a little bit later, but there's a big difference between how Estrom is in the cutscenes and how he actually plays on the recordings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, like, obviously his health deteriorating, and his mentality is very different in both. So I like the way that he's putting forward a strong image for his army, but in personal life he has, like, reservations and doubts, and that is one of the biggest things I think you get from the testimony.
Which really kind of makes him a really intriguing character, that he has he has these kind of personal thoughts. You know, I think a really interesting part of this log is that he says he calls Aatrox his greatest achievement. So, you know, leaning into that is gonna, you know, be a cool thing to track down throughout the story. I also think it's
he was his mentor.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of nice that, you know, Eshrom, it seems like he held out hope that Aatrox was still alive, because at this point he's like, I have to accept he's gone. And so, and this is, you know, we don't get a date from it, but I'm guessing that it's somewhat closer to the time that Chief wakes up, so I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's
looking
around
for
this
him.
time. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. Cool. All right. So lots of stuff to dig into still. And we'll, you know, again, as you're listening to this, we're not going to try to spoil, like, future events. So we'll try to talk about, like, what we know of as of now. We'll try to keep the conversation around current stuff, and then all the missions that we played previously. All right. Great first mission. Excited to dig in more. I did post some community questions, and then we'll get out of here.
Hell yeah.
Krista, do you want to do Discord?
I would love to do Discord. My old friends back again.
I posted both my this mission and the next mission at the same time, so I might have to dig a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. So, Colin Perkins, yesterday at 8:52 p.m. says, describe the design of your own spaceship and name it, parentheses, question for mission debrief, : Halo Infinite, - Warship Gbraakon mission, end parentheses.
I appreciate that, Krista. Thank you very much.
Slow clap.
Yeah. I'm
Still
it's
got
tradition. It's tradition. So Matt, one of our mods, says long and cylindrical with two large engines in the reel, called a glidshift.
I don't know what that is.
Let's see. The pesky burp says my ship would be called UNSC Bruh. Second ship is a daily standard UNSC frigate, but it has arc coils moving its mag gun, so it fires massive bolts of electricity at ships, and is called UNSC Watson.
Yeah.
Chief Smith Dad says vertically slim for lack of broadside targets with very wide with aft and midsection, so I'd call it Menage. Let's see. Dezudo says Warship. In 2569, UNSC shipbuilders incorporated more alien technology into their ships in order to slip in unnoticed and penetrate deep behind enemy lines. My ship has the large bulbous head of a CCS battlecruiser with a long cylindrical midsection and 2 large spherical plasma storage containers at the rear, one slightly smaller than the other. It is mounted with one excavation beam on the very tip of its hull, so it can shoot white hot plasma all over unsuspecting enemies. I'd call it the UNSC Love Gravy.
Wow.
Well, Discord hasn't changed.
What have you
so
done,
good.
Colin?
I
What have
love
you
it.
done?
Oh, you're gonna have to get used to this. So Toki McPot says, my ship wouldn't be an attack ship. It would be more of a station that's planted at certain locations to get supply from. It would have a large vertical oval towards the center. It would have 2 sections equally spaced apart as viewing ports/bridges. In the middle would be a ventilation area for the ship headed down in the middle. Just below that would be an area that could open and close where ships would be able to dock for supplies. It's actually near perfect fit for Dezuto and Matt's warships. And then, of course, Sam says 3/4 of these are penis-shaped. So there we go. There are warships. I am excited to see this fleet and, get hands-on with these new ships.
Very nice. David, Facebook.
Colin Perkins, admin, 16 hours ago. Group symbol. Describe the design of your own spaceship and name it. Open bracket, question 4, mission debrief, semicolon. Halo Infinite, dash, Warship, Gbraakon, mission, close bracket, and a picture of the Gbraakon. We have 6 comments. Manny says, Lego like spaceships, connected together to make the ultimate battleship, some bionicle support vehicles to combine them into a Voltron-like phenomenon, ultra nimble space combatants.
Ooh, I like this guy.
Yeah. Lucas says it would look like the Normandy SR2 or like the Arc 170 from Clone Wars. As for the name, one of the book series I'm reading, Expeditionary Force, has a race that has hilarious ship names, including We Do Sketchy Shit. Come over here and say that again. We avoid temptation, but it keeps finding us. I am acting to give someone a beatdown. Today is your lucky day. And various other comments. I'm gonna go through them all. They're actually pretty good. You should see the last guy who tried that shit. You should have thought of that before we left home. Plausible deniability. It was like that when we found it. Parole violation. Rock solid and suspiciously convenient alibi. That's pretty good. Diggy Keys says the shape of a wonky parsnip, and I call it turnip to confuse the banished. It's all about strategy and psychological warfare. Pretty good. Some guy named Tom. Scattered bits and pieces but no clear way of being connected. I call it the Infinity. Funny guy. He's a funny guy.
Brutal.
And Ray finally says the only design that matters is a Halcyon class light cruiser. Booyah. You gotta like Ray. There you go. Good work. And that's pretty much it. That's Facebook done.
Very
Nice.
nice. All right, that'll do it for a debriefing of the intro cutscene and Warship Gbraakon mission from Halo Infinite. On the next episode, we'll be covering Foundation. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolve.
Evolve.
Evolve.